Hello, everyone, and welcome. If you've ever really stopped to wonder how our modern world actually works, how anything you own gets to you, the answer usually boils down to one powerful word: logistics. So today, we're going to break down exactly what logistics means within supply chain management. This is a core concept and something you'll absolutely want to know for your exams. But hey, before we dive into all the theory, let's make it real. Just for a second, think about your favorite local coffee shop. How on earth do they get everything they need? The coffee beans, the milk, the sugar, all those paper cups, day in and day out without ever missing a beat? And the answer to that really complex question? Well, it's one word: logistics. It's truly the invisible force that keeps our entire economy, and yes, your morning coffee, moving right on schedule. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll lock down a really clear definition of logistics. Then we'll walk through all the key stages, from planning all the way to control. We're also going to dive into the core components, things like flow and storage, and see how it all points toward one thing: serving the customer. Okay, let's get started with our first big question. What exactly is logistics? We're going to begin with a foundational definition, the one you'll want to have committed to memory. Okay, get your pens ready, because this is the full academic definition you'll want to have memorized. Logistics is the process of planning, implementing, and controlling the efficient, effective flow and storage of goods, services, and related information, all the way from the point of origin to the point of consumption, for one key reason: to meet customer requirements. Now, that's a mouthful, so let's break it down into its most important parts. First, you've got the flow. That's the movement of goods and information. And this isn't just one part of a business. It covers the entire supply chain. The big focus is always on efficiency and cost reduction. To do that, you need a seamless integration of everything, from planning to control. And what's the point of all this hard work? It all comes down to the ultimate goal: customer satisfaction. So now that we know what it is, let's look at how it works, starting with the very first step, the planning stage. You can think of this as the master blueprint for the entire logistics operation. Now, during this phase, a company is making some really critical decisions. They're asking questions like, how much will our customers want to buy in the future? Based on that, how much inventory should we keep in stock? What's the best way to move it, by truck, ship, or plane? And finally, where should we put our warehouses to build the most effective distribution network? And a perfect real-world example of this is Amazon. They don't just build those massive warehouses randomly. They use incredibly sophisticated network design to place them strategically near major cities so they can offer fast delivery. And way before the holidays, they use demand forecasting to stock those warehouses with the right products and plan all the delivery routes. That right there is logistics planning on an unbelievable scale. Of course, even the most brilliant plan is useless if you don't execute it properly. So our next section covers implementation and control, which is all about putting those plans into action and then making sure they actually stay on track. Implementation is really where the rubber meets the road. This is the get it done phase. It's about procuring the raw materials, scheduling the actual trucks and ships, managing the day-to-day operations of the warehouse, keeping a close eye on inventory, and finally fulfilling those customer orders. Let's trace the journey of a smartphone to see how this works. It all starts with procurement, sourcing all the tiny components like chips and screens. Then comes transportation and warehousing, as those parts get shipped to a factory and the finished phones are sent to distribution centers. And finally, the moment you click Buy Online, that triggers order fulfillment. The phone is picked from a shelf, packed in a box, and shipped directly to you. Every single one of those steps is logistics implementation. But as we all know, plans rarely go perfectly. And that's exactly where control comes in. This means using technology to monitor everything in real time, tracking shipments, constantly checking inventory levels, and even optimizing delivery routes on the fly. It's all about spotting and reacting to unexpected disruptions, like bad weather or a huge traffic jam, before they turn into major problems. And I guarantee we've all experienced this firsthand. When you get a tracking number and watch your online order move across the country, that's a logistics control system in action. And if your package gets delayed because of a storm, that little notification you receive on your phone, that's the system managing a disruption and keeping you, the customer, in the loop. Okay, let's zoom in now on three pieces that are really at the heart of logistics: flow, storage, and information. These are the absolute core components of how things and data move from point A to point B. The first component is flow, and the goal here is pretty simple: Make the movement of goods as smooth and seamless as possible. To achieve that, companies are constantly trying to reduce four key things: overall costs, the time it takes to get somewhere, any kind of waste in the process, and any bottlenecks that might slow things down. Now, when goods aren't in flow, they're in storage. But a warehouse isn't just a place where boxes sit around. It's an active, precise process. It involves receiving goods, storing them in the right place, picking the exact items for an order, packing them securely, and getting them ready for shipping, all while carefully controlling the costs of holding on to that inventory. So what holds all of this together? Information. Modern logistics literally runs on data. Information about inventory, shipping schedules, order status, and customer preferences. It's like the digital glue for the whole system. And it's all powered by technology. Everything from warehouse management software to GPS tracking. And all of this brings us to the final, and I'd argue, the most important part of this whole process: meeting customer requirements. Because at the end of the day, every single step we've talked about is designed to achieve one ultimate goal. In the world of logistics, we often measure success by what we call the 5 rights. It's all about delivering the right product, in the right quantity, in the right condition, to the right place, and at the right time. This is a really critical concept, so definitely star this one in your notes for your exams. Absolutely. And getting these 5 rights correct, not just once, but consistently, is what leads directly to customer satisfaction. I mean, think about it. When you get exactly what you ordered, when and where you expected it, and it shows up in perfect condition, you're a happy customer. And a company that can do that better than its rivals, well, that gives them a huge competitive advantage. All right, let's bring it all together now with a quick summary and the key takeaway from our discussion. So, when you're thinking about the full scope of logistics, just remember this sequence. It all starts with a strategic plan. That plan is then put into motion through implementation and kept on track with control. This entire process manages the flow and storage of goods, and it's all powered by information. And the whole system is designed to achieve that one ultimate goal: satisfying the customer. So if you remember just one thing from this whole discussion, let it be this: logistics isn't just a small part of a business. It is the operational backbone of the entire supply chain. Without it, the flow of commerce as we know it would simply grind to a halt. And that is a concept worth remembering.